Good evening. It's an absolute pleasure to be with you tonight on what is an absolutely historic day in British history. For so long, the scourge of migrant hotels have been a huge bone of contention in communities right across the country. And for a lot of times, it's been seeming like, what do we do about it? We're just banging our heads against a brick wall, talking about it endlessly. There's no way out from this. Well, step forward, the people of Epping. Step forward, Epping Forest District Council. Today they've been granted a temporary High Court injunction blocking asylum seekers from being housed at the Bell Hotel in Epping. Well, why was that? Well, it's because that planning permission was initially granted to that hotel to be a hotel, not to be a holding pen for illegal immigrants. So essentially, it's not doing what it was supposed to be doing. It's against the planning laws. And I dare say that this legal precedent now applies to pretty much all of the migrant hotels in the country. You know, let's just have a look at Bournemouth, for example. They've got 3 of those whopping great big migrant hotels right on the beachfront. Do they all have the relevant planning permission? Maybe they do, but I'd be very doubtful. According to this ruling, they'd have to close. And I think it would apply to the hotel in your area. The hotel company, the people who own this hotel, are not able to appeal. The judge said no. You can't appeal it. So that's that done. And I think tonight, the people of Britain seriously do owe a huge debt of gratitude to the people of Epping and to the people of Essex more broadly. It was an absolute pleasure to go down there earlier today when news of this High Court victory broke. They've been standing on the picket lines for rather a long time, this lot, and I went to say hello. And welcome to the Bell Hotel in Epping, which has become one of the most famous hotels in Britain. But today, it's a historic moment. Why? Well, because the local council here has won a High Court temporary injunction to mean that the asylum seekers who are in this hotel will no longer be able to stay here. That is a huge victory for the locals, who always said that this was an inappropriate place to house illegal migrants.
We have been peacefully protesting, Patrick, week in, week out. We were told not to. Everything was against us. Everyone was against us. But do you know what? Nothing can beat the British people and their spirit. This constituency once had Sir Winston Churchill as their Member of Parliament. This is a constituency that knows when something is of national importance. And Epping has just done something very big today.
How do you feel today, Joe?
Elated, just delighted that, you know, it's paid off. We've been here week after week protesting and it's worked and we're all just so happy.
This is under the Boris wave of mass immigration under Boris Johnson. He was even worse than Tony Blair when it comes to open borders. Right. And this is just a part of it. You know, obviously they had 14 years to deal with this issue. Yeah. And they didn't. The only reason they're doing anything now is 1, because of these protests, and 2, because they're probably going to lose their seats, a lot of seats around here next year.
We've got one of the best immigration policies in the world, and we would welcome people who want to come and work, you know, and benefit the community. These men here do not benefit our community, they don't benefit the country, and they need to be deported.
It don't matter how long these immigrants had stayed in here, there is no way in a million years Epping would not have backed down. Never. Don't matter how strong you are. I know people are scared, their jobs, whatever. Do you know what? That's got to bypass you. At the end of the day, we got a point to make, and we've made it. And we would have stayed here to as long as it have ever have taken to have got them out of here. They shouldn't be here in the first place. As soon as they're coming over, they should just be sent back.
I've got 3 boys, and I don't even want them walking home from the local pub, and they're 20 years old, just because they have to walk past these. And I don't know what they're going to do. I don't feel safe with them around my kids.
They're not minding their own business, are they? And walking around saying, oh, hello, and being respectful. They're not being like that. No. So that's why we're reacting like this. We can't have it.
Can I ask what it's been like for you here? Because we've had counter-protests like Stand Up to Racism. Not here today, obviously, because they've lost. But not here today. But what was that like? You coming out as a local and being confronted by...
And there were a lot of them from Waltham Forest. I mean, you don't live around here. What the hell are you doing here? I've lived here 25 years and I shouldn't feel unsafe. I live in a nice area. I live in a lovely house and I don't feel safe. That's ridiculous. And you can't walk your dog over there on a beautiful common.
And that's where I like to walk my dog, and I've had to go elsewhere.
People from our country, like old people, or have got no money, or they're cutting their heating allowance. They should be in places like that. Our people who have lived here all their life and paid into our system.
I'm going to play you a bit more from this in just a second, but I just wanted to summarise there a couple of things. You know, you're looking at men, women, boys, girls, all from the local community coming out, putting their heads above the parapet, being prepared to take dogs abuse from the Stand Up to Racism lot, who were calling them all Nazi, fascist scum, having their faces put out there and, you know, the risk of losing their job for daring to stand up for their local community. They were prepared to do that, and that takes a fair bit of bottle. You know, some of the stories that I was being told there were absolutely shocking about the way that people are having to change their day-to-day lives in order to accommodate for some of the blokes that were there. You know, not wanting to walk through the forest or the woods there when they're walking their dog in case they get flashed, being worried about the idea that young girls are going to get photographed and videoed and all of that stuff. It's disgusting that people were being made to live like that in their own community. I also think it's really bad that some of the other media outlets who have turned up, or maybe not turned up and decided to cover the story anyway, have delved into calling people like that far-right, racist, or painting them out to all be gormless idiots, which is actually interesting because it did get a little bit spicy when the BBC rocked up.
Why do you guys feel so angry towards the BBC? What is it?
It's just mainstream media, really. They've been like it for years. No one's really liked how they twist things, how they manipulate things, they spin people a yarn. It's just not good, is it? Let's be honest.
Look, what I will say is that I think that this is about the fact that people have felt underrepresented or not represented at all for years, and for the first time they now have a news outlet that's willing to come and get amongst it and not really spin things in a way, just show the unvarnished truth of a situation. Yeah, all right, call negativity out when it happens, but really just trying to give a voice to the people, because, you know, if it wasn't for these people standing up, there's no way that they would have secured this victory today. No way at all. Someone's saying we've got breaking news here. What's happening?
Broxbourne Council is going to take legal action against the migrant hotel.
That's actually really quite remarkable news. I think that if it's been less than about 3 or 4 hours since this verdict came through, and it would appear that other councils are now having a look at what's going on here and going, we'll have a bit of that and we'll do exactly the same thing. Well, that's it from me this evening from the Bell Hotel in Epping. It's been quite emotional being here, really. A huge victory for local people, really over the government, over the system, over the establishment. It's also a victory for people who wanted to come together, to show that they're part of the same community, to stand up for that community, to protect women and girls, and for really what many people would regard as just common sense and local justice. I've heard some really moving stories today, and I hope that the nation can carry this forward here from Epping and maybe take it as a bit of an example as how things can and indeed probably should be done throughout the course of the country. I think I'm just going to play you out with these lads.
Oh, Britannia! Britannia rules the waves. Britons never, never, never shall be slaves.
Well, there we go. So, as you heard there was that breaking news that happened whilst I was there, which is that noise went round of another council. I've got it here. Broxbourne Borough Council is seeing what's happened in Epping, and they've decided that they want to try to enforce the same thing. The first of many, I suspect. And hey, why not? It turns out that you might be able to block this if you really want to. It puts the Home Secretary in an incredibly difficult position, which is why she tried to block this at the last moment. She tried to block the High Court's decision at the last moment, which says a lot. There's about 300 blokes living in a hotel in Altrincham. There's however many dozens of them living in that hotel there. We've got hotels right across the country. If the move comes that you have to close those hotels because they are essentially illegal, the government is going to have two choices. They can try to accommodate them in houses of multiple occupancy, which is going to go down like a cup of cold sick, and will it be even less safe than what they've got now. So they can't really do that. The other option, of course, is to deport, isn't it? Which one will our government choose?